Surrounded by the young people, the old lady's expression was content. She ordered a continuous stream of exquisite fruit and snacks to be brought in, sharing them with the youngsters like they were children. She watched from the side, her laughter brimming with happiness. However, despite her joy, the Grand Empress Dowager was of advanced age, and it wasn't long before her energy began to wane. Fearing any mishaps, Empress Yen and Princess Liang persuaded and coaxed her until she finally agreed to return to her palace to rest. Only then were the young people released from their duty. Su thought that this extraordinary audience would come to a smooth conclusion, and he relaxed a little, stepping out of the warm chamber with everyone. However, just as they reached the staircase, a melodious and pleasant female voice called out from behind, "Mr. Su, please hold." Although she only asked Mr. Su to stay, it was clear that everyone halted, turning their heads back in unison. Princess Nihuang gracefully approached, exuding an air of strength and poise, seemingly unfazed by the numerous gazes directed at her. She walked straight up to Su, offering a charming smile. "The warm pavilion is far too stifling for someone accustomed to military life like myself. Mr. Su, if you don't mind, would you accompany me for a stroll along the gallery to observe the progress of the contest below?" Regardless of her renowned status as Princess Nihuang, even if she were an ordinary woman, there would be no reason to refuse. Thus, Su amiably accepted the invitation, quietly issuing instructions to Filiu before accompanying the princess at a leisurely pace towards the corridor outside the chamber. Filiu stood with a cold expression, unmoving, his gaze solid as it shot straight into the distance, as if he had transformed into a statue. However, the other three noble sons could not pretend to be statues like him, hesitating at the staircase entrance. To leave or not, they worried for Su, yet they knew they couldn't stay if they wished. As they struggled to decide, the eunuch Gao approached with a beaming smile, saying, "What concerns do you have about the guest Princess Nihuang has invited? Please, take a seat in the ornate tent downstairs. Staying here is rather constraining for you all." Though the words were spoken gently, their meaning was clear. Left with no choice, the three reluctantly descended the stairs. What surprised them, however, was that despite Gao's seclusion within the palace, he seemed well aware of Filiu's identity. He shooed away the three prestigious noble sons but paid no heed to the cold young man, allowing him to stand like a nail at the entrance of the corridor. At this moment, Su accompanied Princess Nihuang to the outer corridor, where they stood side by side, watching the bustling high platform below. "Mr. Su," Princess Nihuang's eyes shimmered as she gazed at Su's profile, inquiring, "I waited for a long time at Duke Ninggua's mansion yesterday, only to hear that you were indisposed and regrettably unable to meet. Judging by today's events, it seems you have already recovered?" "Yes, I have indeed recovered," Su replied nonchalantly, without a trace of embarrassment one might expect from being called out for making an excuse. "Originally, I was looking forward to seeing how Su would handle Her Majesty's gracious recruitment, but alas." Princess Nihuang's interest seemed to grow as she looked at him. "Do you know how your troubles came about?" "Troubles?" Su turned his head. "Do I have any troubles? I am certain that as soon as you return to the ornate tent of the Duke of Ninggua's residence, both the Crown Prince and Prince Yu will come to pay their respects immediately. Would you believe it?" How could I not believe the words of the princess? Don't you find it very peculiar? Princess Nihuang's gaze was as sharp as a sword, her tone filled with arrogance. "Although you lead the largest gang in the world and are renowned for your elegant talents as the plum blossom of Jiangsu, you are ultimately just a commoner. Your influence on the court's disputes is minimal, so why are the Crown Prince and Prince Yu so interested in you?" "To be honest," Su replied with a bitter smile, "I have always found it extremely strange. I am but an ordinary man, supported by my brothers and barely possessing a modest reputation. I have never achieved any feats of stabilizing the nation, so what virtues or abilities do I have to attract the prince's attention? Your Highness, since you possess such keen insight, I implore you to speak with the two princes and let them know that Su is, in truth, of no benefit to them. Princess Nihuang laughed heartily, casting a deep glance at Su before allowing her gaze to follow his, looking into the misty Jinling city. After a moment, she spoke slowly, "Your troubles stem from Langya Hall." Langya Hall. It seemed to be a place, yet also an organization. From another perspective, it could be more akin to a shop that conducted business. The business procedures here were as follows: one would enter Langya Hall, pose a question, and the hall's master would quote a price. If one accepted the price, they would pay, and then Langya Hall would provide the answer to their query. Once, someone had vehemently denounced Langya Hall as a place of deception, arguing that if they cannot answer your question, Langya Hall will quote an astronomical price. If you cannot afford it, they naturally do not need to answer. Isn't this a scam? Yet despite this, the entrance of Langya Hall remained bustling with carriages and horses, and silver flowed in like water. People still believed that no matter what they wished to know, as long as they brought enough silver into Langya Hall, they would receive a satisfactory answer. To this day, this authority has not been broken. My troubles come from Langya Hall? What do you mean by that, princess? Su turned his head, slightly taken aback. Do you know what Langya Hall's evaluation of you is, sir? I do, Su replied indifferently. I'm ranked first among the young masters, but it's just a bluff, nothing more. The various rankings that Langya Hall releases every year, although free, are by no means bluffs, Princess Nihuang said with a clear and melodious voice. The top 10 martial artists, the top 10 factions, the top 10 wealthiest individuals, the top 10 young masters, and the top 10 beauties in the world. Those who make it onto these prestigious Langya lists, which one of them is an ordinary character? Su's lips curved slightly, but he said nothing. With Langya Hall's mysterious and astonishing information-gathering capabilities, there was indeed little room for doubt regarding the authenticity of their 5 major lists. The Jiangzhou Alliance was ranked first among the top 10 factions, and he, as its leader, held the first position on the Young Masters list. These titles were undeniably prestigious, and he had no desire to refute them. However, the Jiangzhou Alliance has held the position of the #1 faction in the world for many years, and you have not just become the top-ranked young master this year. Princess Nihuang chuckled lightly. The reason why the Crown Prince and Prince Yu have recently been so extraordinarily eager to recruit you is due to a new comment from Langya Hall. What did they say this time? Su asked with a wry smile. His Highness the Crown Prince paid a hefty sum to Langya Hall, seeking recommendations for the most capable talents to govern the world. Princess Nihuang looked at him with sympathetic eyes. Unfortunately, you were recommended. Not in one's position, one should not seek their affairs. Su spoke coldly. The matter of governing the world still lies with His Majesty the Emperor. What intentions do others harbor by meddling prematurely? Even if I am favored by the master of Langya Hall and considered a talented statesman, wouldn't I only be of use after the new emperor ascends the throne? Do you truly believe they desire a statesman skilled in governance? Princess Nihuang leisurely said. How the question was asked at that time is no longer relevant. However, the answer from Langya Hall is indeed thought-provoking. To my knowledge, the response was as follows: the plum blossom of Jiangzhou, a talent like the Kailin, possessing him can secure the world. Kailin? Su chuckled. Princess, do I bear any resemblance to that peculiar creature? You can still laugh? Princess Nihuang admired his composure. Langya Hall's assessments have never been wrong, so it's better to believe they're true. If it were just the princes recruiting talent for their mansions, you could easily avoid it, and they wouldn't be so persistent. But with the Kylin talent title, your troubles have grown. Until they've secured your service, both will be relentless. Once one of them succeeds, the other will inevitably do everything in their power to ruin you. Aren't you concerned about such a predicament? Of course there is, Su said earnestly. I feel that the master of Langya Hall must bear a grudge against me. Princess Nihuang couldn't help but smile, turning halfway and leaning against the railing, her eyes gleaming with a hint of brilliance. After meeting you, I feel that the master of Langya Hall might be right again this time. Please, your highness, Su hurriedly bowed in salute. I hold no grudges against you. I'm already on the grill, why must you add fuel to the fire? This fire has long been ignited. I advise you to quickly choose one. To be pursued by another quickly? At least this way, one person will protect you desperately. It's better than having both of them lose heart and come after you together. Princess Nihuang's tone suddenly turned icy. Who will you choose? The crown prince or Prince Yu?